General arrangement of the thoracic cavity. From this review showing that clinician can recognize mediastinum deviation by feeling the position of the trachea in the middle of the chest wall, the trachea at the root of the neck, where the trachea can be normally be felt most anterior in the middle line at the jugular notch. Now the arrangement of the thoracic cavity. A cross-section show you the chest wall. You will find that thoracic cavity contains principally two pleural cavities. The pleural cavity on each side is almost completely filled by the lung, leaving the cavity as a potential spaces containing a thin fluid. We call it pleural fluid. The lungs are separated from each other by the mediastinum, the green line. So the green line is the mediastinum. The hilum of the lung, where the structure enter and leave the lung through the root of the lung. Also that we see the aorta lie in contact with the vertebral body posteriorly, slightly to the left side of the midline. The aorta produces slight flattening of the left side of the thoracic vertebral body of the middle of the series. The CT scan show you the position where the thoracic aorta causing pressure over the middle part of the vertebrae body. Now the esophagus lie anterior to the aorta, The esophagus pass through the thoracic cavity from the superior mediastinum to the posterior mediastinum. But during this course of arrangement, the esophagus can be pressed by the arch of the aorta at certain level. So the esophagus lie in the middle part of the mediastinum, posterior mediastinum. Also show you the CT scan in this figure where it lie anterior to the aorta. The trachea is not shown since the section passes below the level of the sternal angle. So, below the level of the sternal angle. The sternal angle is an imaginary line between the sternal angle between the meningeal sterni and the body of the sternum, imagining lying back to the intervertebral disc between T4 and T5, so that the level, this section, the level below this sternal angle, the trachea is bifurcated to right and left main bronchus. This CT scan show you that the arch of the aorta, the trachea before it, and esophagus sectioning, showing that. On the right side, the dotted line showing the level of our sectioning. But below this level, below the level of sternal angle, the trachea is bifurcated to right and left main bronchus. The arch of the aorta here cannot be felt or cannot be seen because is below our level of sectioning. The third section show you that esophagus lie anterior to the aorta at the lower aspect of the mediastinum. Now, general arrangement of the thoracic cavity. The posterior border of the lung is rounded because it's shaped by the ribs. The anterior border of the lung sharp. It's sharp because it fits in between the heart and the chest wall. This figure in front showing you the position that the heart is in contact with the chest wall, but a part of it is overlaid by the lung. Part of the lung is overlapping the heart at this position. The lungs are separated from each other by the mediastinum. This is a cross-sectioning separation, and this is the CT scan separating in between the mediastinum. This is a cross-sectioning showing that the mediastinum of the thoracic covered anteriorly the sternum, posteriorly the body of the vertebrae. The mediastinum form a complete septum across the chest from front to the back. The changes in the pressure in one pleural cavity may deflect the mediastinum to one side. This is very important clinical position or problems. This section shows esophagus, aortic, and zygous vein. This is a CT of arrangement of the structures. Now, the division of the mediastinum, so that the sternal angle and the intervertebral disc is a landmark. It will separate the mediastinum into superior mediastinum above the dotted line, the red dotted line, and below the dotted line will be the inferior mediastinum. Superior mediastinum from the thoracic inlet to the sternal angle, called superior mediastinum. It's like orange color. It's a wedge shape region. The green line here in this figure show you the inferior mediastinum. The inferior mediastinum can be subdivided into three parts. Anterior, in front of the cardiac and pericardium. The middle part we call it intermediate mediastinum, which contain the pericardium and the heart and the trunk of the main vessel. Posterior one behind the pericardium, and it contains many structures till we reach the vertebral body, so that we can be divided by this position. Three compartments. Fibrous pericardium in the middle, posterior mediastinum, the red one posteriorly, the middle, the green, and anterior, the mediastinum. Anterior mediastinum between the sternum and the pericardium. The cross-sectioning are visualized as if you were here. The right, left, the liver, so below with the right side of your blood.